How
You
is it?
know,
Let me ask you this: when you bring up like stuff we talk about to like the African American community, is it shunned? Is it looked at like how is it looked at?
they don't want to hear it, bro. I don't have to. I'm gonna keep it 100 with you. Um, I don't really have a lot of African American friends, bro. I
Really?
mean,
Why? How do they look at it then?
well, you know what, man? You know what really changed when our channel, even our channel, when this last election, it put a
Really?
beating on us. It put a beating on us because there's a lot of things I didn't go with, and our platform didn't go with the narratives, and we question a lot of stuff, and people I used to talk to a lot, and I seen how they were commenting on social media, and that wasn't my flavor. So I've always been pretty outspoken. I've never even in prison, hung out or did things because of politics. I kind of stayed out of that. But yeah, it's really what it really showed me that a lot of these people, who their character was, and when I seen even the reverse racism, you know, you know, black women saying this or doing this, but you get a pass. But this guy says that this person is racist. I mean, come on, you call it's racist either way it goes,
Facts.
and
No one wants to have that conversation though.
nobody wants to have that conversation, and that's another reason why I can't get certain people on my platform,
I
and
hear
why
you.
I can't get on other platforms because if I say it, and I've been through every facet of the system, single mom, teenage mom. I've been at juvenile hall. I've sold drugs. I've done this. I've done adult movie. I've done it all. So
So
for
you
me
can
to
speak
tell
on
you,
it. Yeah.
I'm speaking the real, and I'm not sitting here crying victim.
You don't have a bias. It's you're just
No,
being real about it. And honestly, when we talk about the truth, the real truth, some people just cannot hear it, man. Like,
no.
and I'm the type of person like have a conversation with me. I'll entertain it. Like I will listen to you, and I'll give you feedback. Why is it when we share our opinions, we get shunned? People get angry. They get mad. Like it's why can't you just have a civilized conversation and explain why you're angry, why you're mad? Why are you so against my opinion? It's just an opinion. Like when I sit, go ahead.
Well, even look at it in your world, right?
True, true, true.
In the military podcast world, how many military podcasters have they allowed to break out? You got
None.
Jocko and you got
Oh
Sean
yeah,
Ryan.
yeah.
That's it too.
It's true.
And you got David Goggin.
Yeah.
But that's it. Now, when you start talking what you're talking about, or what Cody and Aaron are talking about, Strange About Our podcast,
We're unpatriotic is how it gets viewed.
and because you have so much credibility,
Exactly.
they do not want to let that credibility challenge
Exactly.
these guys.
Exactly.
So you guys have a lot.
Wow,
more.
you're very well. I'm surprised you understand that.
You guys have a lot. I mean, you were in the mix, and then for you to start telling this guy, most of these guys maybe haven't done all they said they've done.
Exactly.
And so that doesn't.
They get nervous.
Yeah, man. So they pick and choose.
You don't understand, bro. For Cody and Aaron, I need you to appreciate these two, because these two got to the highest you can possibly get to in the Marines. I'm talking tip of the fucking spear, bro. They were raiders. Okay, there's infantry, there's special infantry, and then there's motherfucking raiders, bro. Okay, so for them to be saying like the things that they're saying at their level is huge. Okay, so I'm that's why I hold them so dear, man. Like for them to just be even able to understand and view the truth the way it is and the way they do. Usually when they get to that level, bro, they're so goddamn brainwashed by the system and being patriotic, and there's no other way to view things. They're just too far gone. But these two are just two normal dudes that wanted to help people, that wanted to, they thought they drank the Kool-Aid thinking like, we got attacked by the bad Taliban and we want to help America and protect freedoms. And they started getting to the level where things get done, and they started seeing how it got done, and they're like, wait a minute. No, what are you talking about? And yeah, they're two great dudes, man. And I'm happy that they're, doing the thing at the podcast level, because people need to hear, their
now,
opinions.
Do you think there's any good guys up there that are trying to counter?
I doubt it.
What they,
I doubt it. I doubt it because
you
it's
don't
been.
Think so? You don't think
I,
that there's anybody in
Bro,
that
it's
realm,
just been
like,
happening for so long, dude. It's been like that for so long. If they had been doing it, they got the shit kicked out of them at some point, and they're like, trying to scrape what's left and put it together somehow, because the they has been winning for quite some time now. I think what normally happens, dude, is when someone realizes what's going on, they get ostracized. They get pointed at. They're crazy. They're or they get found with kitty porn on their computer all of a sudden, or they commit suicide, or you know that's what happens normally when someone gets awake at like that level in a government position. That's what happens to them. They're
you
all of a
know,
sudden
I almost think that I think that how a cycle plays out. You have well, it's almost like the old cartoons. You have you have the villains and you have the good guys. The Hall of Justice, or you got the Avengers,
yeah,
and there's always two sides to a coin. It can never be one sided. Even if we said we were created by God, there has to. Not all gods are evil. Some
exactly.
people, you know what I mean. So you have these individuals who have come into power and they love the power and they look at everybody else as not really their equivalent. But then you have somebody who's been able, through their means to achieve a certain level, and sometimes they decide to play in that same game. And I think that and this person wants to play in this game, but he doesn't want to play by the rules, and that's when they try to destroy him
Yeah,
or her. And I'm seeing it now play out. Whether people like a certain individual or not, and and not to get into a lot of the politics stuff, but they've made the politics so racial
yeah,
and so like biased. And I know people say, well, for example, with the Trump man situation, and if this man wasn't running for president, we would not see what's going on,
no,
and if you rewind, people don't realize he funded or backed Jesse Jackson when he ran for
yeah,
president,
yeah,
which
yeah.
was a black man. You know what I mean? He donated to Al
They don't want to
Sharpton.
hear that. They don't want to hear that, bro.
He was helping Mike Tyson. He done stuff with Don. I mean, this guy, he testified before Congress when the mob was shaking him down in New Jersey. I mean, it's not like people, they see money and they want to make a villain. And I assume like this, like if me and you were multimillionaires, well, Nick had to do something. How did he become a millionaire? You can't be self-made. You can't accumulate wealth. So I just think there is a lot of bias and manipulation. And I think the people that we talk about who maybe see what we see at that next level, they're moving in silence.
Yeah,
They're in the
you're right.
private
You're
conversation
right.
room.
You're
They're
right.
not like the people who are loud are the people who are fully with the agenda that's taking place, but the ones who oppose it, they make their moves, but they're more calculated.
Yeah, you're right.
You know,
You're right. Definitely, because they can't be loud. They can't show their cards.
no.
Yeah,
Think about the chess game right now, right? Okay, I know everybody's like, oh my god, this happened. Think about the chess game right now. I mean, we've seen uh, the president of El Salvador
yeah,
speak out. We've
yeah,
seen the president of Argentina speak out. We've seen the president of I think it was Poland talking about the bullshit that the World Health Organization. I mean, you've seen all these people speak out, right? And then we're looking at what's going on here. And what's the best way to show the sheep who refuse to listen? What about if we just let's show them and let it just unfold the corruption in broad and in plain sight? If we
yeah,
just let it
man.
unfold,
You're right.
like the stuff that's going on in the schools and the classrooms and the lying and the Fauci and all this stuff, just let's let it all unfold and then you just sit back. Now, if they're looking at it themselves and start scratching their head like, damn, wait a minute, this is all you mean to tell me like what the chart this and that, and even after if you're but you start looking at it like this is not right.
No,
So
but when
I
you
think
say,
it's like
just
a
so
really
everyone understands what you're
great.
saying, though, when you say chess game, though, what really is the they trying to do? What the they is trying to do is they're trying to become a one world government. That's why. That's why what we're trying to do. We're trying to get. That's why you're seeing these engagements because they're refusing the dollar. and we have to come in, put someone into their government that backs the dollar, and that's exactly what's happening. Each country is going against it. That's why I mean, I'm sure you've seen BRICS, Russia, China. Yeah, that's we live in a very, very tumultuous time right now, especially internationally.
What do you think would happen to Omar Gaddafi?
I mean, obviously, I think that was a hit, man.
Omar Gaddafi had free education, free medical. He was working with the other African nations to come up with their own monetary system. And when they said that he was in those water ducts he was creating, they said he was hiding weapons, remember? And then Hillary and all them said come in there. I mean, so you know, I mean, dude, when you start researching that and you look at what Libya looked like before and what it looks like now, and the slavery, they got slaves. They're trading African slaves over there right now.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
Libya, you know, and none of that was going on before. So, you know, you talk about Libya, you talk about some of these other, like you said, countries where that oppose the dollar or they try to break away from the Fed. I mean, all this stuff is tied in, and the UN is a predecessor to, remember, the League of Nations.
You're right.
The League of Nations was when they were first trying to do this and make a one world order, and then now we have. And how do you do that? You decentralize all these countries through immigration, so there's no separatism as far as in religion. So if everybody's all spread out, we could basically, like the Tower of Babel, put them all in one big pot, and now we can rule them. So that's really it's a playbook, and when I look at, like, even when we look at World War I, right? And remember when they killed the Russian Tsar and his family?
Yes. Yes. Good example.
They were one of the foundations for Christianity.
Yes.
Remember, Russia was very strong in that. Once they were able to get them out of there with the Bolsheviks, and they turned communist, they were able to, like, run, and that was the first attempt to turn a one world order, and it didn't work. And then they tried it again. So this is not the first time they tried to put this whole mix together. But just study the history. The Bolsheviks,
because it repeats itself. Yeah.
People think, like, Ho Chi Minh, when they killed they killed millions and hundreds of millions of Chinese, their own people.
Yeah,
people,
wild.
It's like you got kids in college running around thinking that they know something about history, and like you said, they have no idea. They haven't traveled anywhere, man.
Experience, like all they're doing, their professors in their ear and convincing them that they know the world somehow. Like, that angers me so much when I see that. It's just so ignorant, and they're going to look at that when they get older and be so ashamed of themselves. Like, I'm not even going to go into that. But what I keep doing on these podcasts, dude, because I get on with good individuals like yourself, like Aaron and Cody, we keep identifying what's going on. Thank God we have brains and we can actually see it. But now that we clearly have like minds and we know what's going on, bro, what can be done at this point? What can be done?
Well, you got to look at, like, how many people were involved in the American Revolution. What percentage of the population? What, less than 8%?
Very small.
10%?
Very small.
Very small. It's no different, man.
Spreading awareness.
When I was in prison, they had a law library. Maybe 8 to maybe 9% of people were in there. Maybe 10 fighting their case. It's the same process.
You know what I didn't ask you, bro? What? Now, you said you woke in prison. What made you? What was your?
My mentor, the guy I told you about, the ex-Vietnam vet. He has some. He put his daughter through college, and she actually worked for the Federal Reserve. She
Really?
went to Chapman College, yeah, bro. He was making bank out there, and he put her through college, Ivy League. She went to the Federal Reserve. She was very mad at him for having done what he did. And he had some reading material in there, and when I used to read this reading material, things that were used to prosecute federal cases, and some of these other cases, and different things about the monetary system, the tax system. When I started reading this stuff, I was already questioning, but that just put everything in order. And I'm like, dude, I was just like, wow, because this man was so knowledgeable, and he was an ex-military, believed in
Wow.
all this stuff. So when he was lacing me up, he was like 40 years my senior. So I listened to this man, and black, the other brothers in prison, the other black guys, like, hey man, you better watch out, man. That guy's crazy, man. He's gonna have you caught up. Better not file the paperwork with him. Blah blah blah. And I'm like, yeah, whatever, man. But I used to go to this guy's uh, cell every day, and we would study. We would eat together, and
Put you
like,
on game.
yeah, man. And it was the white. He became like my surrogate dad. So I had him, and I had another brother who educated me. But this guy educated me on the law, and so I woke up, and then I took what he gave me, and when I went to my next facility, I created another group of guys, and I helped them and educated them on what I knew, and then we kept helping each other. So I think there already has to be something in you in order for you to even question. Some people do time. I mean, there's guys that are doing a lot of time, bro. They're not even looking to see if they can get a pardon. They're not looking to try to appeal their case. I mean, these guys were so-called gangsters, gang members, street guys. And I'm like, they're working in a factory. They're in there working in factories for the government, making military stuff, Humvee parts, desks, all kind of shit. So when I seen that, I'm like, you got to figure this program is strong, brother. This program, I mean, if it's not the street gangs, if it's not obedience to work in a factory, it's religion. So you got to get out of all that stuff to get to this.
Where are you at? Where are you at with religion?
I don't follow any religion,
Yeah,
man.
I don't either. I don't either.
I've studied
can't.
all that.
I have to.
Read.
They're all the same. They're all used to
The
control.
Council of Nicaea and how they try to keep it all together. And I've seen stuff about the Vatican. I've read about the Black Pope.
The Vatican scares me, man.
Gangsters, bro.
Big time. We want to talk about gangsters and spinning the block. The Vatican is rolling deep, my friend. They're a sovereign state. Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
sovereign state. You know what they say they have down in their vault?
The answers for everything. Now, that's who I think is running the world. I think these powerful families at one time, the Rothschilds, the JP Morgans, those big names, they invested their money in knowledge. They found out what was really going on, and look what happened, dude. They orchestrated the Great Depression was, what's his name, taking over the banks. The banking system got taken over, and then the Federal Reserve got rolled out, and then all of a sudden,
Well, look what happened to the guys who didn't roll with the Federal Reserve, who voted against it.
Titanic.
So, see, when you talk about knowledge, that's one thing I always say, man, education changes a person's perspective. Like, if you're educated, you're not going to commit. Usually, if you are going to commit a crime, it's going to be very high powered. But, like, the more educated you are, like when I became more educated in prison, I looked at things differently. So, when you say knowledge, right, you got to look at, like, I heard Cody say, when they were doing the draft, there was a certain group of people, or Aaron, that they were targeting.
Yep.
That basically, like he said, this was a guy who maybe played, he was state football, but then he didn't really have no option. So military, he can go in there and whatever. He's not going pro, but he can go do this, and he's a kick-ass dude. And so that's what they were targeting. Now, when you talk about social circles are energy circles. Just like military, just like religious groups. So when you talk about information flows into an energy pot. Now you can't put, let's say, a 10 with an 8 as far as inspect those two wires to not short circuit, because one's thicker than the other. So once you figure out how energy works, you got to elevate your energy game to get the knowledge for the people who have it. But when you get in there, you got to also remember to keep yourself, so you don't lose yourself.
That's hard.
In that energy realm, which is hard for a lot of people. So you cannot get the game from down here. You can get, we've got a percentage of it, but to get the game, you got to somehow have somebody who basically
went through it or understand. Yeah, I know.
And then they come back and share with you or me on a private level. Yeah. And then we have the compassion, because these people, if you were to sit there and spend 2 years with somebody who was mentoring you, who was a billionaire at that level with all the money game and international business and banking, bro, within after those 2 years, you'd be worth probably 50 to 100 million because
Yep.
it's just information. They're not smarter than you. They just have information that you
Exactly.
don't have access to. If you
Exactly.
could see the same books and material or the lifestyle, you would be on the same level because you already have the aptitude to see things that average person doesn't see.
True.